Hey guys, it's Mitch from the Bottom Line View here with your latest in the NFL offseason and free agency. Got tons of news to talk about. We got trades, signings, re-signings, a ton going on in the NFL already this offseason. So let's get to it. We got Demarco Murray getting traded to the Titans, as well as Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso of the Eagles getting traded to the Dolphins. So the Eagles seemingly are transitioning from the Chip Kelly era into their own new era, getting rid of guys that they just got last year and restarting fresh. So DeMarco Murray's off to the Titans, where I think he'll actually do pretty well there. You know, the offensive system with Marcus Mariota, I think that offense is going to be a lot better next year. It will give Mariota a chance to kind of get the stress off of him, hand the ball off to Marco Murray, who's a good back still. You know, he kind of disappeared last year, but don't get him wrong, he's still a really good running back. Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso. Byron Maxwell is a downgrade for the Dolphins because they let go of Brent Grimes, who's a much better corner. He's a Pro Bowl cornerback. And then you get a guy back in Byron Maxwell who's only really succeeded in the Seahawks system. Although the Eagles system last year wasn't the greatest, you know, their defense was pretty poor, especially against the pass. Byron Maxwell did not have a good year last year. That's an interesting move for the Dolphins, especially with that contract. And then Kiko Alonso, he's a solid linebacker. He's good in coverage. He's fast. He's athletic. But the one thing is, he gets injured quite a bit. So that's another interesting trade for the Dolphins. It's kind of risk or reward now for the Dolphins. But for the low price that they did give for them, I think it's a pretty good trade for both sides. Just kind of the Eagles starting fresh, and then the Dolphins getting some talent to help their team out. Some signings that happened just today. We have the Jaguars signing Malik Jackson of the Super Bowl winning Denver Broncos. That's a huge contract, 6-year, $90 million deal. That will make Jackson the fourth highest paid defensive lineman in the NFL. He's a beast in the middle of the field. He's going to be nice on that Jaguars 3-4 defense, and that will definitely help out their struggling rush defense. That was one of the worst in the league last year. Jackson can do that as well as rush the passer. So good signing for the Jags, and looking forward to see what happens with Malik Jackson because he was kind of an unproven talent until last year. We didn't really know how good he was until last year. Then we got Mario Williams, who's expected to sign with the Dolphins. It's pretty much guaranteed now that he's going to sign for 1 year for $8 million. Mario Williams, I've always been a fan of him. Great pass rusher, strong, fast, athletic beast. I think he still got it. I think he just didn't play to his full potential, and he didn't really try, per se, with the Bills. I don't think he liked his situation there last year. I think he's going to come into the Dolphins with a new mind and a fresh start and play well for the Dolphins, especially if they let go of Olivier Vernon. I think they're going to keep Cameron Wake, but we'll see. Mario Williams can easily step in there at a starting defensive end spot for sure. And then the Raiders signed a top guard, Osemele, to a $60 million deal. That's going to be huge for the Raiders because the Raiders were weak on the offensive line last year. That was one of their biggest weaknesses on their team. They're looking to get to the playoffs. I hear that they're rumored to sign a bunch of other free agents. So this is a good start, focusing on the front, and I think that this will help both the run and the pass game for the Raiders. Some re-signings that we had in the NFL. Tamba Hali re-signs with the Chiefs for a 3-year deal. That's good for the Chiefs. You know, re-sign a veteran guy, a presence both in the locker room and on the field in his pass rush. I don't know how many more years he has left in terms of top quality production, but I think it's still a good 3-year deal for the Chiefs. He's big to that organization. Jason Pierre Paul resigned with the Giants for a 1-year deal. He is definitely the best pass rusher that they have, and they needed that. They need that going into next year because they were one of the worst teams pass rushing the quarterback last year. Richie Incognito, resigns with the Bills for a 3-year deal. That's a good signing. He was a very underrated signing last year. He was one of the best guards in the NFL last year. So really good signing for the Bills, and good to see that he's still playing in the NFL because of all that mess that happened. Then William Big Play Gay, as they call him in Pittsburgh, resigns with the Steelers. They really needed him back because he was their best corner by far. He fits their system really well, and he's going to only help and boost their secondary because their secondary is weak already, and if they lost him, it wouldn't be a good sign. They would only have to replace him. So now they can build off what they already had from last year. For sure, Calvin Johnson is retiring. We'll see if he ends up coming back, but it looks like the Lions have another Barry Sanders on their hands. Calvin Johnson retires at only 30, so I'm pretty sure he's a Hall of Famer. To me, he's one of the best receivers of all time, and it's sad to see a guy leave so early. I wish he would have gone to a better team and had a chance to play for a Super Bowl, but it is what it is, and he decided to leave at this time. The Vikings released Mike Wallace. Definitely a bust for them. He has not been good really since he left the Steelers. He was okay with the Dolphins for a little bit, but he was never at the level that he was with the Steelers. So Vikings released Mike Wallace. Robert Griffin III was cut by Washington, as well as Jason Hatcher, who was a Pro Bowl defensive tackle for them. Jason Hatcher is kind of interesting. I guess he's getting up there in age, and maybe they feel like they can replace him, not really sign him to a big contract, and can get away with it. Robert Griffin III, obvious. We saw this coming from a long ways away. I'll be making a video about potentially where he's going to go or talking about when he signs, because that's a very big name in the NFL, and we're going to see what happens with RG3. So that's the news in the NFL, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, and don't be afraid to subscribe if you're new. It's Mitch from the Bottom Line View. Peace.